welcome to the official signing ceremony of the, should I say, transfer of powers for the cable, I think it's Navis, Naval Cable Communication. Mr. Yuen is here as the current managing director, and sitting immediately next to Mr. Yuen is Ms. Patricia Walters, who would be the next CEO of this company. On my right is Ms. Francis, who is representing the government as the major shareholder, and Dr. Chatterton, who is representing the SIDF, who would be taking the shares or purchasing the shares of Mr. Yuen. Mr. Yuen, having been a founding member of the company, is still a shareholder, even though as the minority shareholder. So the SIDF would now be the new shareholders of the company. And on my far right, as we say, the deputy is essential, is Mr. Adrian Lam, who is the deputy chair of the board. We have a very short ceremony this morning. We'll have a couple of speeches, minor, short, brief speeches, in that we'll ask to start the ball off is Mr. Yuen to say a brief word as to the cable and his time that he served here in St. Kitts.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I woke up this morning and suddenly realized that from the day I graduated from college and entered the U.S. Navy, I'm unemployed. So, so it's kind of a shock. 82 years old and unemployed. Not much market for me out in the world. But on a serious matter, I came here in 1982 on a real estate project I was working on, and fell in love with the island. Didn't like the real estate project, but fell in love with the island and decided it was time for me to move on to something new than what I was doing in the States. So I drove around for a few days and saw the need for cable television. Everybody had a TV antenna, but ZIZ was the only source, and it was on just a few hours a day. So I met some lovely people here, one of which was Ivan Buchanan, and started talking with him about wanting to get a cable TV franchise. And then I met with Dr. Kennedy Simmons, or Sir Dr. Kennedy Simmons, I should say, and Billy Herbert at that time, and started working on the license. We were given a franchise and license to start the cable system on the same day as Independence, September the 19th, 1983. So this is our 35th anniversary coming up as well. We started building, and some of the people who were early on in coming into the company are still with us. Val Brown, Judith Hewlett. We've had several people who have passed on or changed, but that was my crux of the matter to how we built the company. We turned on in May of '84, and it's been really a significant ride. We've now cable TV, we're internet service, we have VoIP telephone, and it's really worked well. I'm delighted that we've worked out where the government will be along with SIDF, the ownership of the cable primarily. We'll still have some minority shareholders with the employees have a minority shareholding. Mr. Buchanan has a minority shareholding, and Seal Joseph has a minority shareholding as well. But my family will be selling out. My son and my daughter and myself own the other 30% of the company. But I'm delighted with the choice of the new manager that's coming in. I've known Pat Walters for quite a while. I'm delighted that she's coming in to run this company. She's a very talented person, and I look forward to working with her and helping her get during the transition period. It's been a really good ride, as I call it. I've enjoyed it here. I've got an awful lot of friends here, and I've really had a great staff. When I talk about Judith and Val and all the other people who have helped me so much in building this company, couldn't have done it without them. Very good people, very good staff, and I'm proud to be part of the cable and what we've been able to do. with that, I'll close my remarks, but I'm very delighted at what's happening.
Thank you, Bill. At this time, I'll have Ms. Francis, who is the PS, acting PS, make some brief remarks on behalf of the government.
Good morning, everyone. It's certainly a pleasure to be here this morning. Apart from the signing of agreement with the sale of the shares from Mr. Ewing and his family to SIDF, we are also here to witness the handing over of the leadership of the cable from Mr. Ewing to Ms. Pat Walters. And the government is extremely pleased that Ms. Walters have passed the test. She went through the process of interview along with others, and she came out. I heard she came out top of everybody else. And we know Ms. Walters, she was here in St. Kitts already in a different capacity. And we want to, on behalf of the government, welcome you to the cable. We look forward to your leadership and helping the cable to move forward. Mr. Ewing spoke of how it started in 1983, and now we have telephone, cable, internet. So we look forward for you helping the cable to progress even beyond what is here today. We also want to thank Mr. Ewing for his many years of dedicated service to us, the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, and to the cable, and we wish him happy retirement. You said you're 82, 82 and unemployed, but we want to thank you that you have spent most of your life in St. Kitts helping to promote St. Kitts Nevis and to make it a better place than how you met it, and we wish you all the best in your retirement. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Francis. And now we'll hear from the minor. I don't want to say the minority, the minor shareholder, because there's still another one below that. Dr. Chatterton.
Good morning, everyone. I'm pleased to be here representing the Sugar Industry Diversification Foundation, also known as SIDF, as its chair, to accept the share certificates that we have purchased, the 30% shareholding from the Ewing family. We are pleased to have been involved in this as we see the cable and the services that it provides as a significant contribution to the economy and the development of St. Kitts and Nevis. We see our involvement as allowing more persons in St. Kitts and Nevis to have ownership in this important kind of business. It will extend, it will expand, and we know Ms. Walters is very capable and able to move it to the next level, and we'll be pleased to work with her.
Thank you, Dr. Chatterton. At this point in time, we have someone on the line, as I indicated before, Mr. Buchanan. Mr. Buchanan, if you can hear me clearly, could you go ahead and make your contribution, please?
Well, all I'm trying to say at this time is that I welcome Ms. Pat Walters to the chair as CEO. We have heard quite a lot about her, and we're looking forward to gain from her experience. And I am hoping that she and you and the staff will all get along very well. The position is that there are one or two things that I have heard which I would like to make you understand more fully, and that is whether or not the package that she accepted, whether or not that is going to be in order, and if not, to make sure that she holds her own. Ahmed Boutawai both of us will bounce some more and will bring more up to date. I would like at this time to mention my good friend Bill Ewing. Bill and I are been very, very good friends from the time he came here. And he has done quite a lot at the table. And the table today as a social entity. There's a lot to do. And I am hoping that we will not see the end of this. And I am also hoping that this one will be in a position to fit the bill and to more or less work with him in many areas that I have experienced. So I am looking forward to some further progress.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Buchanan. Well, we're at the point where the new CEO, Ms. Pat Walters, is about to change her, should I say, her status. One person earlier said that they woke up this morning and they're unemployed. So, one person gone, another one is here. So, at this point, even before the sign, I'll just ask Ms. Walters to say a few words to us as the new CEO.
Good morning, everyone. I'm absolutely delighted to be here this morning. Just before we started, Bill and I were having a little chuckle, and he was saying that, it's a long time coming and he's glad it's happened now. And I have to say to you, Bill, I'm glad it didn't happen when it was meant to happen, because I would not have been here.
That's
So
true.
everything in its own time, according to his purpose. I am delighted to be here. You think of the cable and you think of you. The cable is synonymous with you. You have built an excellent foundation. You were visionary way back 35 years ago. And all I can do is, I'm very privileged to be able to stand on your foundations and build the company up from there. You're not unemployed, because you know everything about the cable. I will be working closely with you for many, many months to come. And, I want to make you proud. And I know you've already reached out to your staff. I want the staff, I want to make the staff proud of what I bring, and our customers and the Federation. As was said earlier, this wasn't something given. I had to apply for it. I think there was, Chairman, over 150 applications across the whole entire world. And I came out. So I want to bring all my years of experience and my passion for making the Federation the best it can be, my passion for excellent customer service, my passion for great revenue growth and innovation, my passion for making sure young entrepreneurs in this Federation get a chance to showcase their talents, my passion for great publicity for the Federation. I want to share all of that, all on what you've already built, Bill. And I want to say, to the government and to the board, thank you so very much for having the confidence in selecting me. I hope that, I make you proud, and I will do my utmost to do the very best that I can. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam CEO. As I always say to her, from the time we completed the process, which was a total of 147 persons, to be exact, who applied for this position, of 147 persons from across the globe. People from Pakistan, India, Europe, Canada, America, the Caribbean, all applied for this position. This portfolio or position was advertised and run by Deloitte and Touche, so it wasn't something that was done locally. It brings joy to my heart to see that of all of these persons across the globe, we have the local power, quality, personnel to do the job that we want done here at the cable. And I could almost put my neck on the block, as the saying goes, and guarantee that the cable, going forward, as of today, would be a force to be reckoned with right across the region. In the telecoms business, I think from what I've heard and seen, Ms. Walters is one of, if not the best person for this job. Okay? So just before we do the official sign-in, which would be an in-house thing here, we'll ask Mr. Adrian Lamb, who's the deputy, to do the vote of thanks.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I have it might seem simple, but I gotta make sure I don't forget to, anything or anybody. But I would just like, before I do the vote of thanks, to strengthen what Mr. Heidegger just said about the search for the CEO. As he mentioned, the search was carried out by Deloitte and Touche, a reputable international accounting and advisory firm. And out of 147 people, we came down to 6, and then we interviewed, and Ms. Walters came out at the very top of this. And she came out not because she was from St. Kitts Nevis. She came out at the top because she was the best person to fit the job at this time. That's why, we're very proud of that fact, as the chairman just mentioned. So first of all, I'd like to thank her for sending in her application for the job at the very beginning and offering her services to us. Secondly, I'd like to thank our outgoing CEO, Mr. Bill Ewing. He has been with the company for 35 years, and working with him for the last 3 years has been a pleasure. We don't always agree, but we always came to a resolution and were able to get things done, and I think the company has moved forward well in the entire 35 years. But in the last 3 years, I think we have made some very good movements, and we hope to increase the propensity at which we continue moving forward. So I'd like to thank Mr. Bill Ewing for his excellent and tireless service, which hasn't finished yet. But, and I'm very glad I had an opportunity to work with him through the years. I would also like at this point to thank the entire staff of the cable for their input and energy in the cable, and let's hope that can continue and improve in the years to come, because the cable has great potential, and we expect that we will start exploring, places and things that we can't even conceive at this point in terms of the technology of areas that we will go in the future. So I would like to thank the staff in advance for their cooperation, the handover. There are going to be some changes and things happening, but all of them are going to be positive. Mr. Buchanan there on the phone, I would like to say good morning, sir, and I'd like to thank him for his, having been on the board, Mr. Buchanan, for the last 3 years. Age is really wisdom, and I have learned many things from Mr. Buchanan. So I'd like to say thank you to you, sir, for your contribution. I'd like to thank the SIDF for taking part and becoming part of the cable, and the other major shareholder, which is the government, for the way we have been able to do the transaction in terms of getting all the contracts and the financial arrangements in place. So thank you very much to everybody for making their contribution.
Okay, I must acknowledge Adrian has actually given the vote of thanks, but I would like to use this opportunity to maybe open to the press who are here the opportunity of asking a question or two to maybe Mr. Ewing or Ms. Walters or any other member of the head table here. So, Mr. Backus, first in the class.
Yes, sir. Clive Backus, winner of 90.9. Question would be, one, what's the investment of the SIDF in the cable? $1 amount, please. When will Ms. Walters actually begin to function as CEO? what is the transition period? And of course, we'd like to get from the board as well your idea in terms of how the cable can become even a greater powerhouse than it already is.
Thank you. Should I say, I would like maybe Dr. Chatterton and the person, the chair of the SIDF, to respond to.
It was a figure that was negotiated, and at this point in time, we would not want to disclose the dollar figure. But it was negotiated based on a number of conditions.
I'll answer the next one. So Bill and I will be transitioning over the next 2 weeks, this week and next week. And then the third week in September, I'll be the sole person here. But Bill will be right at my side from across the miles.
For sure.
Okay, from the board's perspective, what we are seeing is that the cable, as I indicated before, will become a force to be reckoned with in the telecommunication business, where we have discussed at board level some areas like, for instance, not just being locally based, but to transition into as far as other OECS countries. As time go by, I think we'll give you far more information, but this is something which we'll have to sit down. We'll have to sit down with the new CEO and come up with all the necessary strategies, et cetera, et cetera.
Just one more. Mr. Ewing, anything you'd like to say to the public? You've been around for a long time. You're well known, tall and lanky, Texan. You still have the accent after 35 years.
What accent?
What part in common would you like to leave with the public?
Just the fact that I've enjoyed living here, and we'll still be coming back and forth. I still own another company, Leeward Islands Charters, that we do date charters on catamarans. So that we're keeping our home here. I'll be coming back, I hope, frequently, because I really love the people here and the island here. St. Kitts has been awfully good to me, and I have no regrets about moving down here. I moved here full-time 29 years ago. I started the company in '83, but a warm feeling for the people here and the way I've been received and accepted. More friends than I ever had in my life on this island. Very pleased. My wife and I both enjoy coming here and living here and being part of the community. It's been a real rewarding situation with some really class people who I mentioned some earlier, and there's a lot more that could be mentioned.
Okay, any further questions? Comments? Okay, thank you. Thank you all for coming to this session this morning, and we look forward to having much more of this gathering. Thank you.